Yo, Swiggity Swag, my Swiggity Suckers, welcome to an exceptionally not bad day. I was listening to tunes and riding my motorcycle. Oh, my butt cheeks! My butt cheeks are sore, and I was walking up the stairs this morning and I felt my man boobs jiggle and I was like, oh, my titties! I'm sore from activities. No, I've been trying to exercise, and I say try because I've been doing the minimal amount, but since my body doesn't do that, it's like, ah! Yeah, I was listening to tunes and having a good old time. It's only 7 o'clock. Normally it's really hot. It's almost 90, but the sun's been blocked by the clouds, so it's just been freaking awesome. I forgot that I was supposed to record finally Friday. I'm like, oh shoot. So I paused music and now it's time to start talking. It is not good day, doctor, for any particular reason except one. Mother of God. You know how long I've been without my Jeep? At least 3 months. 3 months and half a week. Well, let's just call it 3 months. I was without my Jeep for 3 months, but today, this morning, I freaking got my Jeep back. If I was on my Jeep right now, I'd roll alongside this basic black JKU Mamma Jam and be like, whoop! And he'd be like, what's that? And I'd be like, special, that's what it is. I told myself, as soon as I can, after I get the Jeep back, I want to load my dog, my trailer, my bikes, and my person, and get in the Jeep, and I want to go to Colorado. But with one specific caveat, I want to go to Colorado and not pick or choose a day to come back. Just leave. Just leave. Because I can. I've never done it before. I just want to get away. And I miss Colorado. It's been over a year since I've been there. I'm excited, but I don't think I can go for a little bit. I have to finish messing with my Jeep. A few things I gotta do. I also really want to get the Kansas plates for all my vehicles, which supposedly I'll have them, the rest of them, before a week. So maybe in a week I'll take off, so hopefully soon. And yeah, if I do, I'll mention it. I'll either have a meet-up, mini-meet, whatever. I'll mention it on my Instagram. I won't forget you guys. I'll be going to Colorado Springs probably soon. So this is like a tiny heads up, I guess, just to let you know. But when I'm out there, I'll be sure to have a meetup. I just remembered a comment. It was something snide, like, do you like doing meetups so that you can stroke your ego? I'm like, well, that's not all he said. He said other things. And I was thinking, there's many things wrong with what you just said. But the first thing that comes to my mind is, what about you guys? What about those of you who, for whatever reason, actually want to see me? Am I supposed to just go, I can't see you guys because that would make me happy? It doesn't make any sense. I'm doing it for you guys. If you're not aware, I'm horrendously socially awkward. I do try my best, but I know there's a lot of you guys who just want to meet me, and well, that would be lame of me to deprive you of that opportunity, especially when I'm just around your area not doing anything anyway. So I do it for you guys. Actually, tonight I'm going to load this bike on my trailer, and then tomorrow Jeep trailer this bike to the shop, and I get the chain on here tightened. It's just too loose. And at the same time, have this done really quick, take this bike and pick up my Zero, which is at the shop because of the flat tire it got. So I'll be able to take both those bikes back on the trailer, and then I'll already have my 2 bikes on my trailer. I have a little bit of a quandary, but this is what's going to happen. I didn't know what video, but I wanted to make a video about my Jeep, right? Specifically the engine swap and all that. And I said there's a secret, but now I just don't know how I'd make a Jeep video about it, because it would literally be me just standing in front of my Jeep going, there's the engine. Yes, the engine is made out of engine. So I think I'm just going to tell you what the Jeep secret is. So here's the story, okay? Here's the more or less long-form story of my engine swap. I'll tell it here. And so if anybody wants to know it, they can watch this video. Otherwise, in order for me to tell this story or to get more details out of me, you'll have to ask me in person. I don't think I'm making another video about this. 4 months ago, probably 4 months ago at this point, a while ago, I sold my R8, as a lot of you know and a lot of you don't know. And the plan was to use those funds to pay for an engine swap. I was like, screw it. I was going to sell the car anyway, but I was like, screw it. Let's sell the car and put that money into the Jeep. Do the one thing I never thought I was going to do is do an engine swap. The engine swap I wanted to do but could not do is the Hellcat, because the Hellcat engine is super sexual and powerful but there are some nerdy things I was unaware of. Aside from the fact that I was like, well, I don't want to pay for that, honestly. I mean, actually, I want the engine, I just don't want to pay for all that. Whatever. The nerdy problem is that the transmission, my Jeep's a manual, in case you didn't know, the manual transmissions on the JKs are not strong enough to take that engine. The manual Jeeps can take it, or I should say the manual JLs, I'm not sure what the JKs, Jeep. The manual transmissions, sorry, the automatic transmissions can handle that engine, but my transmission couldn't, so that wasn't even an option for me. So I decided to do a supercharged Hemi. I forgot the liter size, but that would get me up to like 550 horsepower, and my supercharged V6 is making like 330, so I'm like, that's good. So I went to South Dakota to the specialists to do that job, and I said, I want this, here's the money. They go, okay, here's the money, thanks for the money, so long, sucker. At least it was so long, sucker. I was getting ready to leave, and the guy there, Dan, said, okay, so I have an idea. And I didn't know him very well, but I knew him just well enough to know that he was going to say something crazy. I was like, uh-oh, what's your idea? And he goes, I want to put a Hellcat in your Jeep. It won't cost you anything extra. You're still being charged for the supercharged Hemi swap. But what I want to do is, I want to put a Hellcat in there, and I want to detune it so we can get it down closer to what a supercharged Hemi would be, so that your Jeep can handle the power. I'm like, why? What's the catch? He goes, there is no catch. I'm like, well, heck yeah, dude. I mean, an underpowered Hellcat is better than a Hemi. I mean, if it doesn't cost anything extra to upgrade to a Hemi, even if it's tuned down, I can't complain. I can't say no. So that was awesome. Like, that should be the end of the story, right? Well, then he continues. He says, what I want to do, because I have so many people with manual JKs who want a Hellcat, I want to try to build a custom beefed up transmission. I want to work on a kit for that. So if you want, you could come back once I've developed that, and then you could be the guinea pig. You could try out my beefed up super whatever manual transmission, and then at that point we can unlock all the power of the engine and get 700 plus horsepower. I'm like, okay, so I get a free upgrade for no reason. Other than that, I don't know why. He's crazy. I have a chance at having a fully powered Hellcat in my Jeep. Which, by the way, wouldn't be free. I'd have to pay for the kit and all that work, but I mean, I still have that chance. But then number one, which kind of goes in number three, which kind of goes in number one, I have the world's first, I believe, maybe even the world's only Hellcat manual JK. That's pretty freaking special. I effectively have the world's only manual Hellcat Wrangler. That's where my Jeep was this morning, right freaking there. So why was it there? Well, the engine swap took 6 weeks. That was a long time. Man, I was happy to get it back. I was driving it home, but I had to drive home at 65 miles an hour, even though the speed limit's like 75, because, as you know, I have a bunch of lights on my Jeep. The lights and my grill in front of the radiator was actually blocking some air, and the extra radiator couldn't get enough air to cool down the engine as much as it should. So I actually had to make sure I didn't put too much pressure, too much work into the engine so that it could stay cool and not overheat when I went home. So I had like just kind of like a day to cruise home. It made the trip take way longer, by the way. Of course it'd take longer, but it was a really long, just slow trip. It was a chill, glorious day. But there was a ticking noise, which I thought was something that was part of the Jeep. I thought it was the fuel pump. It was just like tick, 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 tick. Like, that's cool. It's like a little chugga train. Well, no, apparently that's not cool. It was not a good sound. I got home, and the next day it got worse rapidly. Over time, I was like, it's going chuk, chuk, chuk. Like, whoa, oh my gosh, is there something wrong with the engine? I was freaking out. Checked it. No, definitely was nothing in the engine. Okay, thank goodness. There was definitely something in the rear axle, and it got worse. By the end of the day, literally, funny story, literally, I was trying to chug home. I almost stalled so many times. I literally rolled into the parking space in my driveway, clunk. It broke down right there. I was like, yeah! And it sat there for almost a month until 4 Wheel Parts had an opening to look at it. 4 Wheel Parts finally I towed it to them, and they go, yeah. So, fun story, your teeth in your rear axle, 5 teeth have sheared off. I'm like, wonder why that happened. And it's my suspicion that the teeth got sheared off during the detuning process, or I should say sheared. That happened over time. The damage was inflicted while the engine was being detuned. At some point, the engine chipped a tooth or something, and then over the day and a half that I had it, it got worse. So we're already 2.5 months into this story. So I was like, okay, there's two things here. Number one, the obvious solution is to buy or get Dana 60s or 60 axles. That would fix it. Those would be beefy enough. I won't have this problem again, but I got some broken axles. I cannot afford to buy huge freaking 1-ton axles right now. And I think the science is in. So here's what I want to do. What I want to do is, I said, go ahead and replace those axles, the gears, just the way they were. I'm pretty confident that they're not going to break the second time around, because I'm almost positive that damage was done when the engine was more powerful, and that was the point of detuning it, so that wouldn't happen. So almost another month later, it's been just over 3 months now. That work has finally been done. 3 months later, I finally have a Jeep. I've had it for 1 day, once again, only today, and it's been a great day. But I won't lie, I'm stressed, driving it, babying it, hoping that the teeth aren't gonna just shear off, and I'm trying to not floor it. I don't want to talk about it more than I need to, but the whole point is it doesn't open up all the engine right away when you step on it. That's a Ferrari. Pista? No, it's not. It's a super fast, I think. Look at me correctly labeling cars. That's weird, right? That's more like me. Anyway, so I got it back for a day. I have those gears. I'm calling the Jeep good, but I'm just gonna be careful because it could break any day. In the meantime, don't worry, I will get freaking 60s on the Jeep, and I won't have to worry about it anymore. It's just a matter of when. Ooh, pretty. I don't think you can see it, but there's sun rays. As soon as I can, I'll get the 60s on there. The Jeep will be nice. Until one day, probably, I will freaking go back to South Dakota and unlock the true potential of the Jeep. But holy crap, wow, long story, but I had to tell it somewhere. That is the story about my secret. The secret is that it's not a Hemi, it's a Hellcat. Maybe finally Friday next week will be me in Colorado. Whatever. If you want to know when I'm going to be in Colorado, follow my Instagram. That's all I got to say about that. The end. Bye.